I want to tell you a story that still messes with my head a little. Last year, my neighbor landed a six-figure job. The kind of job that changes how people talk about you. The kind where relatives suddenly start saying things like, "See? Hard work pays off." A few months later, I watched him pull into the driveway with a brand new Tesla. Clean, silent, shiny. The kind of car that announces success without saying a word. 3 months after that, he knocked on my door, not to celebrate, not to show it off. He asked if he could borrow my lawnmower, because he couldn't afford to fix his. That's not a joke. That's not bad luck. That's math failing in real time. And the weird part is, nothing about his situation looks like failure from the outside. High income, nice car, successful on paper. But this is where most people get it wrong. Making more money is not the same thing as getting richer. And for a lot of people, making more money is actually the thing that keeps them trapped. We've been taught to think about money in the wrong order. We're taught to obsess over income. Salary, raises, promotions, titles. How much do you make? Not how much do you keep? Because culturally, income is visible. Gap is invisible. You can see someone's car. You can see their house. You can't see the space between what comes in and what goes out. And that space, that invisible space, is everything. Most people assume that if someone is stressed about money, the problem must be that they don't earn enough. But that's not actually true. There are people making $30,000 a year who sleep fine at night. And people making $300,000 who wake up with a knot in their chest every morning. The difference isn't intelligence. It's not discipline. It's not even luck. It's what I call the gap. Or more accurately, the complete absence of one. Let's strip this down to the simplest version possible. If you earn $50,000 a year and you spend $40,000, you have a $10,000 gap. That's your profit margin on life. That's the raw material of wealth. Now take someone earning $200,000 a year who spends every single dollar they make. Their gap is zero. Despite earning 4 times as much, they are not getting wealthier at all. They're just moving more money through their hands. Think about how strange that is. We celebrate revenue in businesses, but judge them by profit. Yet, with personal finance, we do the opposite. We praise income and ignore the margin. Imagine a business with $10 million in revenue and a 1% profit margin. That business is one bad quarter away from collapse. But somehow, we've normalized personal financial lives with margins that thin. This is where it gets uncomfortable. According to a 2023 Lending Club report, more than half of Americans earning between $100,000 and $15 say they're living paycheck to paycheck. Read that again, slowly. Even among people making over $200,000 a year, more than a third say the same thing. That's not an income problem. That's a gap problem. And here's why the gap is so hard to protect. It has a natural predator, Parkinson's law, which in plain English means this. Expenses expand to match income. Always. You get a raise. Suddenly your apartment feels small. You get promoted. Your car starts feeling old. You get a bonus. And somehow, it's already spent before it hits your account. Not because you're irresponsible, but because your brain is wired to normalize whatever is available. This isn't a moral failure. It's psychology. The average person saves less than 5% of their income. And what's fascinating is that percentage barely changes across income levels. 30,000, 300,000. Same behavior, different scale. You're not climbing the ladder. You're running faster on the same treadmill. If we're being honest, Most of the damage doesn't come from small things. It's not the coffee. It's not the occasional dinner out. It's the big three: housing, transportation, food, especially convenience food. Let's talk about cars for a second, because this one is almost absurd. The average person will spend somewhere between $400,000 and $600,000 on vehicles over their lifetime. That's a paid-off house in many parts of the world. Instead, it becomes a series of monthly payments on things that lose value the moment you touch them. Keeping a car for 10 years instead of 3 doesn't make you cheap. It makes you dangerous. Financially, housing is trickier because it's emotional. You're not just buying shelter, you're buying identity. I deserve this. My family needs this. This is what people like me live in. And banks are more than happy to validate that identity. But approval is not affordability. The tactic that actually works feels counterintuitive. You cap your fixed costs. You decide deliberately that even if your income doubles, your housing stays the same. And yes, that feels uncomfortable at first, because we've been trained to believe progress must be visible. But the real progress is silent. This is where everything changes, because expense control alone isn't enough. The real power comes from the top line, from income increases that never touch your lifestyle. I call this the invisible raise. When you get a raise, a bonus, side income, any new money, it never becomes part of your life. It doesn't upgrade anything. It doesn't improve convenience. It doesn't change your baseline. It goes straight into savings or investments. Not 90%. All of it. And the reason this works is psychological. You already know how to live on what you're living on now. Continuing to do so isn't sacrifice. It's inertia, used correctly. Imagine you make $60,000 a year. After taxes, maybe $48,000 hits your account. You spend $42,000, your gap is $6,000. Not terrible, but not transformative. Now your income jumps to $75,000, $10,000 more in your pocket. Most people treat that money like permission. Permission to upgrade. Permission to relax discipline. Permission to finally feel successful. 6 months later, spending rises to $51,000. Gap goes from 6 to 7. Technically better. Practically meaningless. But the person who keeps spending at 42, their gap jumps to 16,000. Same income, same life. Completely different future. This is where people lose. The reward fallacy? You've been good. You've earned this. Just this once. And that one purchase resets your identity. It's not about the object. It's about the baseline shift. Once your identity changes, your expenses follow. That's why one reward often leads to 10 more. Once the gap exists, it starts doing something interesting. It compounds. You invest $15,000 a year. At 8%, it generates income. That income widens your gap further. Now your money is working and feeding the machine. After enough time, the machine runs without you. Here's the part that flips everything upside down. Your freedom number, the amount you need to stop working, is based on spending, not income. Spend $40,000 a year? You need about $1 million invested. Spend $80,000? Now you need 2. Every lifestyle upgrade moves the finish line further away. This is why high earners often retire later than moderate earners who mastered the gap. The gap doesn't just buy money, it buys time. 5 years of expenses saved is 5 years of autonomy. 5 years to change careers. Start something risky. Be present. Time is the one thing you cannot compound later. Most people are widening someone else's gap. Their landlords, their lenders, their banks, their employees in their own lives. The shift happens when you obsess over your own margin, not to punish yourself, but to protect your future. Pull up your statements. Income minus spending. That's it. If you don't like the number, pull one lever for 90 days, just one. Not forever, not perfectly. Just long enough to see the number move. The gap isn't about deprivation. It's about alignment. Spending less on things you don't care about, so you can buy more of what actually matters. Freedom, options, time. The people who sleep well at night aren't flashy. They're quiet. They're boring. They're free. And freedom doesn't come from making more money. It comes from keeping more space between what comes in and what goes out. That space is your future. Protect it.